Good morning and welcome to another episode of Now Streaming Morning Show, coming to you live from Advent Cable Network Nigeria. I am Boluwatife Adegboye, your anchor for today. I have with me in the studio Barrister Patrice Akwara, a political analyst and ambassador Innocent Enenta. He is the editor, Daily Global newspaper. And joining us virtually later on the show is Barrister Chijioke Precious, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, SAN. He is the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Diocese on the Niger. And today we will take a closer look at some topics that stirred up conversation across the country over the weekend. The presidential pardon recently granted by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in a move rooted in the power of mercy. The president approved clemency for 175 individuals, including 82 full pardons, 65 sentence reductions, and the commutation of 7 death sentences to life imprisonment. But this act of mercy went beyond the walls of our prisons. It reached into our history, extending pardon to figures such as Abat Macaulay, Major General Mamman Vatsa, and members of the Ogoni 9, including Ken Saro-Wiwa, who were executed decades ago under controversial circumstances. For many, it was a gesture of compassion and national healing. For others, it reopened old wounds, especially among those who believe that pardon without justice does not bring closure, but confusion. So today we ask, what exactly is a presidential pardon and how should it be used in a just society? Viewers, feel free to join the conversation by calling the numbers showing on your screen, or you can send in your comment through any of our social media platforms also showing on your screen. But before we dive into the topic for discussion for today, let's quickly take a quick look at the headlines of some of our newspapers that came in early today. And to start with, we will go with the Punch newspaper this morning. And the lead story on the Punch newspaper says, ASU rejects federal government proposal, begins 2 weeks strike today. And underneath you have union snubs government peace talk over unpaid arrears, and others insist on industrial action. And above the masthead there we have Edu recovering, no plans for replacement, says the presidency. We also have Naira hits 10-month high on strong FX inflows. That story is on page 33 of the Punch newspaper. And also we have 2027, no pact with Jonathan, says Obi. This story is on page 41 of the Punch newspaper. And also we have Tinubu under fire over presidential pardon for drug offenders. That story is on page 18 of the Punch newspaper. And we quickly move to the Guardian newspaper this morning. And the lead story on the Guardian newspaper says, prerogative of mercy, criticisms, outrage, suspicion through presidential pardon of 175 persons. And below that we have security concerns. Tinubu, National Security Advisor, NIA boss join MITI in Rome. That story is on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. And above the masthead we have prioritize ending impunity for electoral offences. Serap tells new INEC chair. That story is on page 5, and you have the picture story of the new INEC boss there. We also have IMF and World Bank meeting. Cardoso leads team as federal government confirms Edu indisposed. That story is on page 5 of the Guardian newspaper. And below that we have Umba's exit ends PDP stake and dominance in Southeast. That story is on page 29. And that's much we can think on the Guardian newspaper as we quickly swiftly move to Vanguard newspaper this morning. And the lead story on the Vanguard newspaper this morning says, non-oil exports, local investors lose out of 4.8 trillion naira boom. That story is on page 25 of the Vanguard newspaper. Above the masthead we have 100 billion naira loan sparks war of words between Alia Othom in Benue State. And beside that we have Zenith Bank declares 51.3 billion interim dividend payout. That story is on page 26. We also have U.S. genocide debate sparked by federal government failure That is coming from a former presidential candidate, Olawipo Ashim. As we also look at the Daily Global newspaper this morning. You can't fight drugs and free traffickers. ADC slams Tinubu. Below that, we have businessman excrete 227 cocaine wraps at Makia as NDLEA uncovers meth in ceramics. We also have the picture story of President Tinubu arriving in Rome for security summit. And beside that also, we still have federal government threatens ASU with no work, no pay agreement there. And that is the much we can take on the lead story for the newspapers that came in quite early this morning. And I don't know, Master Patrice Akwara, I don't know if you really want to touch on any of this, and particularly looking at the Vanguard newspaper that talks about the non-oil exports, that talks about local investors losing out of 4.8 trillion naira boom. I don't know if you have an idea about that.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course, non-oil exports, and local investors losing out on it. It's what happens when such policies are put in place, and it shows that for you to import, you have to produce. For export rather, you have to produce, and we are not really a producing country. We are not really a producing country. Apart from oil, we are not really exporting things. We are not really exporting anything. So, because of lack of the infrastructure to help local production of goods and services, how can you produce when you don't have energy? When you don't have energy to power your industries, it becomes very, very difficult if you are running on a diesel economy. And now you see how expensive it is to buy fuel, plus the additional tax on each liter of fuel. So definitely local manufacturers are bound to suffer.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Enenta, I don't know if you would like to talk about, we know we are talking about local investors losing out on 4.8 trillion naira boom, and Zenith Bank on the other hand is saying they declared 51.3 billion interim dividend payout. I don't know, it's not looking like.
The local investors are suffering,
okay,
especially in the non-oil sector. Just like Barris has said, operating and running business in Nigerian environment is harsh and it's hard. Most of the businesses run on diesel. Electricity is a problem, and it's going to be harder if government does not intervene into that matter. It's a good thing for investors in Zenith Bank. It shows that the bank is growing and the bank is doing well. And it also points out that Zenith Bank is a good stock or a good business to invest in for anybody who is interested in buying stock. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And viewers, we will delve into the topic for today: presidential pardon, prerogative of mercy and clemency. And I think I would love to start with you, Barrister Patrice Akwara. Now, what is a pardon? What is clemency? And what is this prerogative of mercy? Can you help us just in 2 minutes just to dissect that? What is a pardon? What is clemency? Is pardon doesn't mean you've not sinned again, you are exonerated, or is the case struck out? Or pardon, it means we acknowledge that you've done what is wrong, but because you've shown a change of heart and all of those things, so we are pardoning you, but it does not remove the fact that you've been convicted.
Well, thank you. The way you asked the question reminds me of what our Lord Jesus Christ came to do. And you recall that woman caught in adultery. They actually caught her in the very act. And they sentenced her to death by stoning according to the law. instead of going ahead to stone her, they brought her to Jesus in order to rope Jesus inside, But Jesus being very smart and more intelligent than they, and now asked them, if you have not sinned, cast the first stone. And knelt down and started writing. But I think he was writing a new law, actually, if you ask me, because the first law that criminalized that woman's act was written by the finger of God, the tablet of stone that Moses got was written by the finger of God. When he had finished writing that 10 Commandments, he sent it to Moses. So I feel I'm inspired to say that Jesus, when he stooped down and started writing, nobody told us, so I felt he was writing a new law on the stone also. So by the time he stood up, he said, if anybody had not sinned, cast the first stone. I asked the woman, did anybody accuse you? He said, no, not accuse you. And I said, go and sin no more. That's exactly what presidential pardon can be. Under Section 175 of our Constitution, we have what we call prerogative of mercy. And now you added pardon and which other third one? Clemency. When you talk of prerogative of mercy, it is a prerogative. It's a discretionary power given to the sovereign. The president is the sovereign. Just like in the Bible, God is a sovereign God. He determines what he wants to do, and you cannot question his will to do what he wants to do. So the Constitution, the principle behind that is that the president will be advised by the Attorney General, and mostly he sets up a panel, and he did set up a panel, and that panel came up after interviewing the various applicants. So a lot of people applied, and then they were interviewed, and the panel made some recommendations, and in accordance with Section 3 of that subsection 3 of that Section 175, he sought with the Council of State, determined the people who satisfied whatever criteria they set to be pardoned, and he pardoned them. And when he pardoned them, it is go and sin no more. Anybody, for you to merit that kind of pardon, you must have been tried and convicted. Awaiting trial people are not part of it. It is only those who have been, just like the allegory I started with, the woman in the Bible. You must have been tried, sentenced, and serving a jail term. So when the president exercises that his prerogative, that is discretionary power conferred on him by that Section 175 of the Constitution to pardon you, you are asked to sin no more. Then when you talk of clemency, it shows that you are innocent. That is to say, nobody will apply any form of ex-convict on you. Yes. Okay. You are now clean. You are now bereft of any form of accusation or allegation, and you cannot even be tried again on the same set of facts that led you in the first instance to go on trial to be convicted. So this is a prerogative, and the president doesn't need to. Let me also emphasize this fact: the president doesn't need to supply any reason. It's just like under, I think, Section 95, what we call nolle prosequi. When somebody is already on trial, the Attorney General, when somebody is already on a criminal trial, the Attorney General can decide to go to court or send somebody by his hand and say, go and withdraw this matter, enter what we call stop prosecuting, nolle prosequi. That is to say, he has nullified the prosecution. Okay. And he doesn't need to give any reason whatsoever. So they have nobody can challenge that exercise of that knowledge in court, neither can anybody exercise this prerogative of mercy
in court.
So
it cannot be tried.
It cannot be challenged. It cannot be appealed against.
Okay, still on what you said about pardon and all that. Now, you said clemency means nobody can accuse. Nobody can.
You're not clement.
You are
not.
You are.
That thing
It means you are clean.
Yes.
You are.
In the eyes of the law, in the eyes of the law, you are innocent,
regardless of what you've done
yes.
before. But does it mean that if it is pardon that was granted, does it mean that it means somebody tomorrow can still tell you are an ex-convict?
No, all of them are the same.
They are the same.
They are one and the
all
same.
Right.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. I want to come to Mr. Innocent. Coincidentally, we are looking at a section of the Constitution, section 175, and we have the president granting clemency and pardon using his prerogative of mercy instruments to help out 175 persons. Does this really sit well with you as a person, given the antecedent of some of the persons who have been granted this pardon?
For me, as a person, it's a good gesture.
Okay.
It is when you've not been on the other side of the law, you don't understand what pardon or mercy is all about. When you are caught on the other side of the law, when you are giving such gesture, you understand what they're talking about. And extending it to the founding fathers and men who struggle for freedom, it's a great thing for me, because it helps the family have the right to speak, the right to be heard. If that was not done, somebody or some people at some places, you are from this family, those family of criminals, those family of this, somebody must point finger. But with this that the president has done, nobody can actually point finger to the family on any of those things. So he gives them some bold steps, some boldness. He gives them justice against injustice that they suffered. So for me, it's a good gesture.
All right, thank you very much. Still with you, sir. Many of us, especially for someone like me, we heard and read the story of Major General Mamman Vatsa. The way he was accused, his execution, and all that. Now we are seeing the president granting a pardon. Does it mean that pardon can also be extended to someone who is late? We are seeing somebody like the first known politician in Nigeria, Abat Macaulay, also granted pardon posthumously. This is something as far back as over 100 years ago. We are looking at almost 120 years now. Now, who was just granted pardon? Now, because from what we have here, he was accused and convicted by the British colonial authorities in the year 1913, but was just granted pardon just this past week. Does this pardon now, what exactly does it do? What is the implication of this pardon?
This pardon is showing that no matter how long justice is delayed, somebody still gets what he deserves. And that is late does not mean he has no right to pardon. See, when you are convicted of an offense and you die, both your cause and everything still belongs to the state. So that is late. And now that they give them pardon shows a clear cut of justice for the family. And for me, it's good for them, no matter the time.
All right, sir. All right, thank you very much. Barrister Patrick, sir, the Ogoni 9, everybody knew what happened. What does this mean to the family, and what does it mean to Ogoni people, and what does it mean to the entire riverine area that produces crude oil in Nigeria?
Yes, it's a welcome development that those Ogoni 9 pardon. I think also that it brings a sort of closure to the perceived injustice that the people from that area felt, has been feeling. But if you recall, during that time, part of the reason why General Abacha decided to levy a prosecutorial issue against them or charge them to court was because of the kind of conflict, violence, that happened that time. But now the society has really moved away and moved on from those issues within that context. So the society will actually need closure. I recall, I know exactly what happened the day. I think there were people in a meeting and people who had really burned down the whole community. Was
In Ogoni.
Yes, in Ogoni. And then these people were now arrested, that they were the ones who instigated the violence that, so that which occasioned the then Attorney General under Abacha's regime to file criminal charges against them, and at the end of the tribunal trial, they were convicted and sentenced. They applied for pardon. Abacha refused and still went on to execute them. So, but if some people will regard them as political prisoners, that so these were not really criminals, as it were. These were not criminals. There are people who say they are freedom fighters, fighting and agitating for resource ownership, you understand, within that oil producing area. So I think it is justified that the government should pardon them and bring a closure. And then their surviving relatives will not feel that the deceased will be tagged ex-convicts.
Sure.
So this thing frees them from that ex-convict garb placed on them.
All right, thank you very much. I want to go into another aspect of this matter this morning. I know when we talk about this prerogative of mercy, for many individuals, many feel it's just the singular decision of the president. But from what we have under Nigerian Constitution, Section 135, subsection 1B of 1999 Constitution, as amended, the Federal Republic of Nigeria, its composition is listed clearly in the third schedule, part 1, paragraph B. And it says, members of the Council of State that helps the president in deciding this prerogative of mercy includes the president, the vice president, all former presidents, and all former heads of state. We also have all former chief justice of Nigeria, the president of the Senate, the speaker of the House of Reps, all the governors of the state of the Federation, and the Attorney General of the Federation. So now, there are some questionable individuals that have been granted this pardon, and which is one of the things that is leading to the massive kickbacks, outcries here and there by Nigerian citizens, politicians, and what have you. What exactly do you make of this? Is it that when you get to this Council of State, everybody just sees whatsoever the president says is the final, nobody checks him, nobody makes any input? Since you are a barrister, maybe you can just give us an answer.
Yes, the Council of State is largely the input of the Council of State to whatever issue the president brings to them is largely advisory.
Okay.
It's largely advisory, and when you say it's largely advisory, you also factor in the composition. Most of the people there, apart from serving governors, most of the people there were formerly in office, and I believe that their maturity and experience wouldn't want them to do or say anything that goes against what the present occupant of the presidential office is saying. Do you understand? So they will always want to, whatever the president brings to them, they just advisorily give him consent. So they don't really, because like I said earlier, there is always, before the president undertakes to exercise his prerogative of mercy to grant pardon or clemency to anybody, he normally sets up a panel made up of erudite legal jurists in this country, very seasoned professionals also, who will look into individual applications and petitions brought by lawyers or members of the family of those who are of the convicts who are serving jail term. So they look into the merits of the application. They also look into the desirability, whether the person applying deserves it.
Oh, no.
And there are some criteria, either age of the person applying,
illness,
ill health, good
behavior, good
conduct while you are in detention.
Yes.
Those are the things that they look into. There are certain, let me tell you something about some of all these things. There are certain information known to those who are in office that are not known to you and me. So that's why most times when I hear all these things, I don't really rush to make comments, because there are some intelligence, there are some information that are really of superior matters of state that lead to all these things. But I understand the cry of the people, because when you look at the list, it includes a lot of drug barons. In fact, it was this Dino Melai that said that the president should as well scrap NDLEA, this drug law enforcement agency, since at the end of trying people who have been accused of carrying and selling illicit drugs, the president will go as much as pardoning more than 30 of those who have been convicted. Some other people said also that a lot of money, a lot of funds, a lot of state funds have been used in these trials, and then at the end of the day, you pardon them. So what's the essence? But don't forget that most of all these things are done by the person in the office. Tinubu will not continue to be the president of Nigeria forever. You understand? He may do his own pardon, may be exercised in a manner that is openly ambiguous or questionable. But maybe tomorrow, somebody else who comes in there may do his own in a more transparent manner, or in a way that when he exercises this his prerogative of mercy to pardon people or grant them clemency, people will say, yes, this is very deserving. So you don't throw away the child with the bad water.
All right, thank you very much. And I'll come to you, Mr. Innocent. You know, in law, we say transparency strengthens legitimacy. Do you think this criteria was rightly used in the case of Mary Sanda, who killed her husband some few years back and was sentenced to life imprisonment?
Just like Barrister said, behind the scene, there are information that is not available to the public. Paraventure, while she was in prison, she have had a change of character, she have many things, she have undergo rehabilitations, and many things has happened. Yes, on the other hand, the family of the man will feel unhappy and so forth, but just like he said, there are many things that happen behind the scene, and whatever decision he makes, he's the president, and the office he occupies gives him that power. At least for this period that he's the president, whatever he wants to, he gives him the power to do what he wants to do. So let's look beyond what the feelings and the outcry is all about. Let's look at what is going to be achieved from what the president has done. Is this person going to, as he's being reintegrated into the society, is he going to be a better person? Is he going to be an ambassador to take up a campaign against women abusing their husbands domestically and killing their husbands? Because people often don't realize that men are also being abused. More men suffer domestic abuse than women. Sometimes it's even cheaper to slap a man than to use words to scandalize him. So, like I said, beyond the outpour, there are other things behind the scene we don't know. So we can't question the president. But as the days unfold, every eye will be on her to see what she'll make out of the pardon she was given.
All right, thank you very much.
For that, let me just add a little bit. This Mariam Sanda issue, from what I read, and I agree, they have 2 little children. I think this prerogative of mercy, if you ask me, it's properly as well conceived, because the society will be better off if these children are brought up by at least one of the parents.
One of the parents, okay.
You understand? Since the father is dead, you cannot go and bring him back. Since their father is dead, you cannot go and bring. Somehow, since the woman has shown remorse and repented, I'm even certain, or let me not say I'm certain, I'm inclined to think that even the family of the man, where that is to say the family that owns those children, will even want their mother to come and train them so that they will be better citizens for the society.
All right, thank you very much. We have a comment from one of our viewers that says, that Mary Sanda pardon really drives home Nigerians. Nigerians says, now who die, lose. Kai. They say it's for kids, but a case of premeditated murder should never have been considered for pardon. The president and his team missed on this one. It's pure injustice. This is coming from Saratu. From Kaduna. And also says Mr. Sunday Jackson is sentenced to death for defending himself. Yet Miriam Sanda, who stabbed her husband multiple times, gets clemency. In this country, please don't let anyone kill you. They will walk free. What a country. Mr. Innocent, your thought on that?
Yes, if you look at it from the emotional part, the comment seems to be right. But just like we are saying, beyond emotion, there are facts that we don't have privilege to. And the little I know, the law does not deal on emotion. It takes on facts. So if the president chose to do what he has done, there are facts before him. And the man convicted for defending himself of murder, we believe that with time, the president will still look into the matter and find a way to resolve the issue. Because he has a right to defend himself, no matter the case. So the outcry of the public is understood, but the president is in a better position to justify his action than any Nigerian is.
All right, thank you very much. And also we have some of the out of the 175 persons that were, granted this pardon and prerogative of mercy. We have a whole lot of persons who were illegal miners, and we know what mining itself is. The illegal mining itself in Nigeria as it stands today is a big industry on its own. And now you have illegal miners who were arrested, duly prosecuted and convicted of illegal mining and sentenced also. And now you have the president granting a pardon to this person, many of whom have not even served up to a third of the number of years that they were convicted for and also sentenced to. And you have the president granting them pardon. And a distinguished senator, a sitting senator, is the one who pushed for this, and is saying that he's going to stand for them and stand as a surety for them that they are going to become or be of good conduct after they have been granted this mercy. Does this not drive home a point that it's only those who are influential or have someone within the corridors of power that have access to this prerogative of mercy by the president? Mr. Innocent, before we come to Barrister Patrice. Yeah.
Yes, it seems so. And it also somehow demoralized the mining marshal who is in charge of watching over the mining activities and fighting illegal mining in Nigeria. And you also have to look at the families involved. When a man is out of the scene, the families is in disarray. A lot of things goes wrong. The families suffer. If you take the man off the scene and the children are allowed to move on, you have more criminals to manage. You have more problem in your hands. If somebody is taking a sortie for these illegal miners, that they will be of good conduct. If they fail, he should be arrested and persecuted for not being able to keep to his promises. But for me, looking at it holistically, I think it's a good move. Considering that families are involved, considering that children will become more criminals, you are managing just one criminal, and now you now release 10 people with no father, no mother, no parental upbringing, you have more people to deal with. And that is exactly the case that is actually going on in the northern Nigeria. When you have more Amajiris, they don't go to school, they don't get education, they don't get trained, they just beg. And when you are offering them 500 naira, they can take it to carry out the art of what you want to do. So it's not better we look at the good part of the thing, how it can bring proper upbringing, help the society economically, reduce crime, and the rest of them. So that is my take home.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Barrister Patrice, we come to you. 40 illegal miners, and we have Senator Ikra Aliu Bilbis signing an undertaking for them. Some persons from some quarters have said, peradventure, these illegal miners are working for either him or his cronies in this illegal mining business. Your take?
Honestly, I wouldn't really want to comment on this issue because this is a problem we have in this country. We are doing illegal mining in the north, mining our resources without any form of accountability, while in the south here, fighting people, and you are using our crude oil to be the mainstay of our economy. I think this particular clemency is a political calculation on the side of the president. He is planning for 2027 election. So these are the people who help him to retain his seat. That's my own subjective understanding of this, because it doesn't make any sense to make heavy weather of economic sabotage in the south, and those who are sabotaging the economy in the north
treated with
kid gloves. So for me, it's just a political calculation. I wouldn't want to say more on that.
All right, thank you very much. And we will look at some of these things, but then before we continue, viewers, remember you can always call in via the number showing on your screen. You can also send in your comment via our various social media platforms, also showing on your screen. Mr. Innocent, we talk about this prerogative of mercy, and we look at how long the matter of Nnamdi Kanu has been dragging, and yet it seems it has been overlooked. Is this prerogative of mercy or this pardon, is it only for those who have been duly prosecuted and sentenced, or it can be applied, like he rightly said, not only prosecute? I don't know.
The prosecution.
Okay, now you use the legal maxims there, but then I'm not a legal person, so now right, why do you think it was not extended to Nnamdi Kanu? Is it until his case is done, or what?
I think the barrister is in the best position to.
No, because I want to have your take before I will go to him, because yes, I will still come to barrister. So some persons are of the opinion that the list is too one-sided there and there, and we just need to talk about it, looking at the Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case.
Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, like the barrister said, had not been convicted.
Okay.
It's still on trial.
Okay.
And this case is on treason. It's not on a particular decision, and treason offense is heavy. But with that, it's still left for the due process or the due diligence to be done on his matter. And until then, there are many things we can't say.
Okay.
But let's stay within the boundary of the law.
All right.
That governs Nigeria. All
right. Thank you very much, barrister. In 2 minutes, maybe you just give us why this wasn't extended to.
I'm not the president.
Okay.
I don't know why he didn't extend it to him.
Can't this be tested in court, this prerogative of mercy?
No, it can't be tested. But like I said earlier, knowledge prosecute can be used. To stop a matter that has not really gone to judgment stage. You understand? A matter that is still on trial. The Attorney General can.
Okay, sorry, we hold your thoughts. We have a caller.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone in the studio.
Good morning.
Good morning,
my honorable barrister.
Good morning, sir.
And anchor. We are waking up again not to be surprised for some of us. We are waking up again with news of the pardon, and your barrister in the studio have done to why so-called pardon was done. And I think one thing I got from him is the fact that President Tinubu or the president has nothing to explain. He has nothing to explain to anybody why such pardon was done. In during Jonathan, the big name there on his own list was Alamesia. During Buhari, it was Darie and Jody Nyame. The next question is, on Tinubu's list, who is now the big name for us to debate as to why the pardon was done? But I will not just want to look at it that way. Without first of all seeing the percentage of the so-called pardon. We are talking about the young lady that killed her wife and killed her husband, sorry, and so others, as we are saying. But do you know that 40% of this so-called pardon, bigger pardon, 40% of them are drug-related offenses. 40% of them drug-related offenses. Why 34% is illegal mining offenses? Financial crime commission in special crimes is about 70%, and what another things. And the big question there is, why is it that 40% of them, the large percentage of them, is drug-related offenses? Just like Tinubu does not have anybody, does not have any chance to explain to me. And also, he shouldn't hold me responsible for thinking what I'm thinking, and as to why he pardoned only over 40% of these people. That is really my take on this. If he likes, he should pardon everybody in the country. In fact, even me and the recently convicted man in Abia State that stole over 1 trillion naira. Very soon, he will be pardoned even while he's on the street, and God will still help us because he doesn't have anybody to explain to, and heaven will not fall. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Sunday, calling from Abuja. And, we leave this presidential matter and we quickly move to some constitutional review and amendment. For some times now, the issue of constitutional review has been subject to public debate. And I think recently we have various public hearings across various regions in the country. And some persons have been clamoring for state creation. Some persons have been clamoring for, creation of local government and what have you. And I will start with Barrister Patrice Aquara. Now, so many persons, for example, I think we saw recently at the enthronement of the Olubadan of Ibadan land, who clamored for the creation of Ibadan State with Ibadan City as the capital city for Ibadan State. And now we also have some persons who have also been talking about the creation of Ngokpala local government, 3 additional local government for Ngokpala. So all of these things, where are these agitations coming from? The structures and the administrative, something that we have on ground, have we really been able to maintain them properly? Barrister?
Yes, thank you very much. The structures and the administrative processes, have we been able to maintain them properly? I think it's like going to court and you want to depend on the weakness of your opponent's case instead of on the strength of your own case. You have to depend on the strength of your own case and not on the weakness of your opponent's case. And besides, you cannot, because of people are doing something wrong or doing it in breach, then you not do the right thing. When you come to Ngokpala, by His grace, I am the chairman of the Additional Local Government Creation Committee of Ngokpala.
That's good to know.
Good. And there is a very compelling reason for Ngokpala to have additional 3 local governments. When the colonial masters were there, they created what we call county councils. And by creating county councils for administrative purposes, but since this the era of local government reform started by Olusegun Obasanjo, Ngokpala has remained still that same era of county council. And it has also remained undeveloped, or let me say undeveloped. When you say underdeveloped, yeah, it's undeveloped. Okay. Apart from citing the Imo Airport, Sambakwe International Airport, which is the single largest cargo airport in the southeast. You understand? Ngopala, but Ngopala has a potential. Just a minute. Ngopala has the potential of feeding this country. I have a rice mill established in Ngopala. Ngopala is where this Ebukobi our ministry are operating. You need to go there, one of the most level land. Yes, table land in this country, with as in the level of agriculture investment that this country can benefit if Ngopala is properly delineated and created and empowered. It can feed. You don't even need to be transporting. I grew rice in Amala in Ngopala. You understand? I grew. People used to think it was only in Ebonyi or in North. You can grow. I grew rice. I grew a lot of things that you grow in the North. I grew it in Amala. So, not being able to tap into the potential of a place because of administrative bottleneck or overlooking those people because you feel that they are backward, because you feel that nobody is in the government for them, has really led to Ngopala to be underdeveloped. And we are advocating. We are not just advocating for traditional local governments. We are advocating for this traditional local government so that Ngopala can actually play a part in the economic development of this country, especially in agriculture. Agriculture, if we properly utilize in Ngopala, it can be the new oil for the whole southeast, talk less of Nigeria. So these are part of the compelling reasons why we are agitating and strongly advocating that Ngopala, not only for the government to address the injustice of allowing the local government to be like a county council, but also to make it to be a very powerful economic hub for the whole country.
All right, thank you very much, Barrister Patrice Akwara. Yes, sir, your thoughts on this creation of new states, local government, and all of this? Is this the right time to call for it?
I think it's a good move because Nigerian Constitution now should undergo a overhauling of the entire Constitution. Because some sections of the Constitution do not capture a lot of things which need to be captured. And from my little understanding, there are some sections I feel is biased.
Okay.
So when people are calling for overhauling of the entire Constitution, I am in support. In the Constitution, you could see the Sharia talked about this thing, but there's nothing about Christianity mentioned about it. There's nothing about Jesus. There's nothing about this thing, but everything is Sharia and the rest of them. So you can see it is one-sided, and some people feel it is their right to own a certain thing. So I believe it is time for the entire overhauling of the Constitution. Those that need state creation, state should be given to them because they are being marginalized. Development is not getting there, and a lot of people are having a lot of setback. When they push for some certain things, they are relegated. The Constitution needs complete overhauling. Indigenization should be removed and ethnicity should be removed. There are many things wrong in it. I am from the southeast. I don't think I spent 1 year of my entire life in Enugu, where I come from. But I spent almost all my life in Lagos and Edo. But I cannot say I was born in Edo State, but I can't say I'm an Edo man. But naturally, I'm not from Enugu, because I was never born in Enugu. I was born in Edo State. I grew up in Lagos. So those are the places I can actually claim to be home. So that's why the Constitution needs complete overhauling. I go to America and I go to this and I say I'm an American, I claim a state and I enjoy the benefit. But when it comes to my home country, a lot of madness comes in.
There's still these discrepancies between citizens and indigenous. and what have you. All right,
Yes.
thank you very much. That was a very wonderful take, and many Nigerians are actually yearning for this overhauling, because even recently we have the issues of who is a citizen, who is an indigene, even in the House of Representatives, and which I think the bill was raised by Right Honorable Benjamin Kalu. Eventually, it was stepped down at the public reading. So we leave that quickly. We go to ASU strike. Now, I think, jokingly on social media, many people will tell you that the only thing that strikes more than thunder now in Nigeria is ASU. Now, ASU are at it again. This is their 18th strike in 26 years. And federal government is coming to say no work, no pay. In 2 minutes, sir, Mr. Innocent.
ASU should stop that madness. ASU is joking with the life of Nigerians. Because ASU is supposed to produce the future leaders. They should know that we have a system that will not solve their problem. They are giving back to the society. So for me, the madness of constant strike should stop. They should always go back to the negotiating table, find a way to... Government is used to strike. So they should look for a new thing to... and how to hold government accountable. But stop truncating the life of Nigerians. The future of this country. It's being truncated by this strike. We should also consider that parents are going to have more burdens. Some parents are struggling. That is just, when will this child finish school? Let this trouble be off. Money is being wasted by the family. Did they think their strike only affect them? The children is affected, the family is affected, everybody involved is being affected. Before we take any action, please, let us also weigh the options.
All right, thank you very much. When we talk about ASU strike, we hear this morning the Honorable Minister for Education, Honorable Tunji Alausa, was on air pleading with ASU to come back to the negotiation table, and we have the federal government saying, they are supporting the students with education loan fund, pocket money. We also have ASU saying that is not the issue. Our agreement in 2009, please attend to it. This has not been attended to, because what they are going on strike for is the 2009, is it 2009 or 2012 agreement? What do you make of this, Barrister, in 2 minutes because of our time?
Well, I've even lost track of ASU and their issue. Just, whatever, they keep on coming up with all manner of agreement. The truth of the matter is Nigeria's education sector needs a complete overhaul.
Sure.
You can't continue to do the same thing all over again and expect a different result. And most of all this, when you go to the university, the way they teach as if they are teaching people in 1928. Since I finished my law degree at the University of Lagos a long time, I've gone back to school to take about 3 masters, and I'm currently doing my 2 PhDs separately. And I have not seen any difference in teaching in those days and now. But the LLM I did in Liverpool, University of Liverpool, I could see the difference. The way they are teaching Nigerians, that's why nobody is empowered. The children are not, doing anything. They are not being inculcated with any fresh skill as to how to face challenges of 21st century. You understand? Just about dictating notes, no research-mindedness. And they even help some of the students to write their projects and stuff. So they shouldn't come. I have no sympathy for ASU.
All right, thank you very much, viewers, and that is the much that we can take on the show this morning. Master Patrice Akwara, it was wonderful having you here this morning. Thank you very much. Mr. Innocent Enetha, it was also wonderful here to have your piece and opinion on this matter. Thank you very much. We sincerely appreciate you. And now, to the viewers, so what have we learned today? We've learned that mercy, when guided by truth, is strength, not weakness. We've learned that forgiveness can heal a nation, but only when it stands on justice. And we've seen that the real power of leadership lies not just in authority, but in how that authority is exercised. To the government, we say, use the prerogative of mercy with care, transparency, and integrity. Let mercy never replace justice. Let it complement it. And to all of us as citizens, let's remember that a just nation is not built on punishment alone, but on fairness, compassion, and accountability. I am Boluwatife Adigboye. Bye for now.